Hello, welcome to the secret world of human trafficking. I'm your host, David J. Story. I'm also the author of the Omega book series. I hope you'll learn something from today's episode. So let's get started. I'm going to talk about a terrorist group out there like no other terrorist group. What makes this group different is who their targets are. This group is a worldwide group. This group is very dangerous and vicious group. This group only targets the most vulnerable members of society. This group is in your home right now, stalking and coercing its intended target as we speak. This group is targeting your children. This group calls itself 764. The term 764 refers to a dangerous international online network of perversive, violent extremists who targets, grooms, and extorts vulnerable children and minors for sexual exploitation and violence. Let me repeat that. This sick, perverted group targets, grooms, and extorts your children to perform sexual acts and violence. The FBI has described the group and affiliated networks as a form of modern-day terrorism. Here are some of the tactics that they use on your children and the activities they have them engage in. First off, the members of this 764 group network operates on various online platforms, including but not limited to Discord, Telegram, Instagram, Roblox, and Minecraft. Their activities include grooming and sextortion. Members build trust with vulnerable minors, often those with mental health issues, before coercing them to produce sexually explicit materials, child sex abuse material, called CSAM, C-S-A-M, intimidation and violence. These sick bastards use the explicit material to blackmail your children into performing acts of self-harm known as cut signs. This is where the victims carve usernames into their skin. Also, animal abuse and other violent acts. Often they have the innocent victim live stream or record for distribution within the network. The network has connections to neo-Nazis and satanic ideology movements like the Order of Nine Angles, O9A, with a goal of causing social chaos and instability. The Order of Nine Angles is a controversial and secretive group that combines elements of occultism, sadism, and neo-Nazism. Known for its extreme beliefs and connections to violent acts, the Order of Nine represents a complex and dangerous intersection of occultism and extremist ideology. Its beliefs and practices pose significant challenges to societal norms and have been linked to acts of violence and terrorism. The 764 group uses intimidation. 764 members threaten victims' families, engage in swatting, that's making false emergency calls to a victim's home, and using doxing to maintain control and prevent victims from reporting the abuse. The FBI, Department of Justice, DOJ, and international agencies are actively investigating the network, leading to numerous arrests and convictions across multiple countries. The FBI has opened hundreds of investigations and considered this a top priority. The FBI is investigating hundreds of suspects who may be young online predators. In a report by Mike Levin November 18th of 2025, law enforcement have arrested alleged members of 764, accusing them of threatening kids online, calling them modern-day terrorists. The FBI has conducted more than 350 investigations into the 764 network and its affiliates, who they say aim to sow chaos and destroy society by preying on teens using popular online platforms. In November of 2025, the FBI arrested a 21-year-old man in New Jersey who, according to authorities, had taken a bizarre mix of concerning actions tied to the online extremist network known as 764. This 21-year-old allegedly tried to blackmail teenage girls into sending him sexual explicit images of themselves, while also planning to launch an ISIS-style terrorist attack inside the United States, even allegedly stockpiling zip ties, body armor, ski masks, and books about bomb making at his home. 3 weeks earlier, a Seattle area mother wept as she and her husband visited the cemetery that now holds the ashes of their son, Jay, a 13-year-old who live-streamed his suicide after authorities say he was pushed into doing it by members of this 764 group. And 4 months earlier, inside a Detroit courtroom, a federal prosecutor nearly broke down in tears telling a judge in vivid detail about the brutal and gruesome videos of animal torture that another 764 member had allegedly promoted online. These recent episodes are only 3 examples of the dangers and the evil of 764, a loosely knit network of satanic predators found in nearly every part of the world. And yet, few Americans have ever heard of them. I, for one, have only recently become aware of this 764 group. In May of 2025, ABC News reported that the FBI was conducting 250 investigations across the country tied to 764 and similar networks. In the 6 months since, the FBI has opened at least 100 more investigations. Authorities say that one of the main goals of 764 and its many affiliates is to sow chaos and destroy society. Its members find vulnerable children online, obtain private information, and intimidate sexual images from them, and then use that sensitive material to blackmail victims into mutilating themselves or taking other violent actions, while they are streaming it on social media so others can watch and torment the victims also. We've looked at violent crimes against children for many years, but this just takes it to a whole new different level. The former head of the FBI's Counterterrorism Division, David J. Scott, recently told ABC News, not to be confused with Georgia Congressman David A. Scott with the same name. 764 was started by a 15-year-old Stevensonville, Texas. I'm not going to repeat his name. I'll just call him Sick Pervert Number 1, who named it after the first 3 digits of his local zip code. The group was born in the midst of the COVID-19 pandemic, when teenagers were stuck inside and flocked to online spaces. 764 is a more vicious spinoff of other online groups exporting children through blackmail and self-harm. With help from a teenager in North Carolina, I'll refer to him as Sick Pervert Number 2. 764 recruited new members based on the quality and notoriety of the content they produced. From videos of victims carving 764 members' names into their bodies to recording of victims setting themselves on fire. According to the Justice Department, the more extreme, the better, explained a former prosecutor. In Arizona, a 16-year-old, I'll call him sick pervert number 3, allegedly helped publish a grooming and manipulation guide instructing 764 members to focus their efforts on young victims already struggling with mental health issues, according to investigators. Since then, 764 has spread around the world, sort of like a deadly cancer, growing into more of an ideology than a singular group. 764 is essentially an umbrella term now covering all of the offshoots and subgroups that mirror 764 but use different names to help keep social media companies and law enforcement from tracking them down. It's been estimated that as many as 10,000 people worldwide are actively engaged in the dark online world of 764 and related networks. Many are, like the sick perverts who started this group, and many more are victims. Efforts to combat 764 in the U.S. are now being led by the FBI's Counterterrorism Division and the Justice Department's National Security Division, which, after several years, have come to understand the true nature of 764, officials say. Modern-day terrorism in America, FBI Director Kash Patel told a Senate panel in September 2025, 3 weeks ago, the Justice Department took steps to file a terrorism charge against an alleged leader of 764. That's sick pervert number 3, the Arizona native who, as a teenager, allegedly helped publish a guide on how to groom and extort victims. The indictment against him contains 29 charges in all, from conspiring to provide material to terrorists to murder for hire, child exploitation, and cyber stalking. According to the indictment, pervert number 3 ran a barbaric group chat associated with 764 on social media platforms. He coerced a 13-year-old girl overseas to stomp her hamster's head and feed it to her dog, live on camera. He also tried to pay someone $3,000 to kill the grandmother of another victim who resisted his demands. He also called himself the king of extortion, a prosecutor said. This sick pervert bastard number 3 looks like an average kid, just a lanky, skinny kid, but his looks were deceiving. He was in fact a scary and dangerous person online, according to one prosecutor who was part of the team prosecuting him until she recently left the Justice Department. According to the sicko number 3's attorney, the pervert number 3 will be pleading not guilty to all charges against him at an upcoming hearing. I saw a picture of this freak, and he looks just like the boy next door, just your average teenager. He is just one of at least 30 people publicly charged by the Justice Department in recent years with suspected ties to 764 or affiliate networks. Many of the charges documented against them are filled with horrifying and shocking allegations, violent sexual acts, and even murder plots. They describe how members of 764 share disturbing and gory content with their victims and promote other extreme ideologies like neo-Nazism, sadism, or even ISIS-inspired terrorism to desensitize young victims into violence. There's an aim to corrupt and break down our society by going after our children. They're essentially poisoning our society at the root, the former federal prosecutor said. Many 764 members also glorify past mass casualty attacks, such as the 1999 Columbine High School shooting, also the 2012 shooting at Sandy Hook Elementary School in Newtown, Connecticut. This left 6 adults and 20 children dead. The FBI has also been trying to determine how much 764 may have contributed to high-profile school shootings. Along with other mass casualty attacks in recent years, including 17-year-old killer's deadly assault against Antioch High School in Nashville, Tennessee, back in January of 2025, 2 victims were taken to the hospital where a female student died and a male student was treated for a wound to his arm. Investigators uncovered evidence that the shooter and another person, who police said was responsible for the deadly shooting at Abundant Life Christian School in Madison, Wisconsin, the previous month, they were following each other's social media account. An allegedly diary that the killer left behind, which was shared with ABC News by the Anti-Defamation League, includes 2 images plainly tied to 764. Just weeks before his attack, the killer wrote in his diary that he wanted to do a stabbing like Tobaz, referring to a teenager in Romania who reportedly tattooed 764 on his arm. I'm sure I didn't pronounce the name right, but I did the best I could. This happened back in 2022, and he live streamed his fatal stabbing of a 74-year-old woman. Several others associated with 764 have been arrested by state authorities, including the sick pervert number 1, the founder of 764, who is serving an 80-year prison sentence in Texas after pleading guilty to child pornography-related charges back in 2023. I hope he doesn't make it very long before prison justice prevails. No, child molesters and perverts like him don't live long in prison's general population. Just saying. In June 2025, with help from the FBI, local police in Oregon arrested a 14-year-old boy. This boy, according to the FBI, pledged allegiance to 764 and was allegedly planning a mass shooting and explosive attack at a local mall. FBI has opened 250 investigations tied to violent online network 764 that prey on teens, top officials have said. The boy charged with attempted murder and several other charges repeatedly told authorities after his arrest that he never intended to follow through with his plan and that he was pushed into it by 764, according to his attorney. He pleaded not guilty to the charges, but the head of the FBI's Portland field office, Doug Olson, insisted at the time that authorities prevented a tragic event in the community. Despite making progress against 764, state and federal investigators have faced major challenges along the way. In particular, because U.S. federal law makes it hard to prosecute minors, who make up the majority of 764 predators. Also, because several foreign governments have resisted U.S. government's efforts to extradite offenders captured overseas. For the past several years, both Republicans and Democrats' voices on Capitol Hill have been calling on platforms to more aggressively fight online predators. In May of 2025, a bipartisan group of senators reintroduced the Kids Online Safety Act. This is a bill that would compel platforms to provide minors and parents with a series of readily accessible and easy-to-use safeguards. However, it would not grant parents access to their children's private messages, which to me is useless if the parents can't access the private messages of their children. I want to ask this. When should a child's privacy override their safety? The bill was previously approved by a vote of 91-3 in the Senate. However, it failed in the House, with some representatives expressing concern that it didn't go far enough to protect the child's First Amendment rights. Again, does the child's First Amendment rights override the life of the child? Now, don't get me wrong. I'm 100% supporter of the First Amendment. But where do we draw the line when it comes to children? I'd like to hear your comments on this. Send me an email with your thoughts on this and what you think. Last year, after a member of a network like 764 pressured a Virginia teen into attempting suicide, Senator Mark Warner, Democrat of Virginia, the top Democrat on the Senate Intelligence Committee, sent a letter to social media site Discord, demanding to know about the company's failure to safeguard minors and stop the spread of violent predatory groups such as 764. Despite increased controls, predators continue to target minors on your platform, Warner wrote. For those like me who don't know what Discord is, here it is. Discord is an instant messaging and voice over IP social platform that allows communication through voice calls, video calls, text messaging, and media. Communication can be private or in virtual communities called servers. A server is a collection of chat rooms and voice channels accessed by invitation links. Discord runs on Windows, Mac, Android, iPhones, and in web browsers. As of 2024, Discord has about 150 million monthly active users and 19 million weekly active chat rooms like servers. In an interview with ABC News, Warner said Congress needs to pass basic bill like the Kids Online Safety Act. This is a problem that, if we don't do something, potentially could get worse, Warner said. And I totally agree. If we don't try to stop it or do something about it, it's only going to get worse. Experts warn that there are limitations to what platforms can actually do, especially because a lot of this activity occurs in very small spaces that are very difficult to monitor. A spokesperson of the Institute for Countering Digital Extremism in Washington said, platforms are also inundated with predators who have numerous backfalls, profiles, and accounts, this spokesperson said. Meanwhile, others said that there needs to be a law that makes it a crime to push someone into harming themselves online. But since when has there ever been very much common sense coming out of our government? It's a total crime, Senator Warner said. Even though it's through digital connections, experts said it's important for parents and the rest of the public to recognize the threat of 764. Parents have a false sense of security because their child is right there, the former federal prosecutor said. And that's a terrible mistake to assume that there is safety in that setting. Your child is not even safe in their own home anymore. The National Center for Missing and Exported Children recently reported that in the first half of 2025, it received 1,000 reports of abuse tied to 764 or similar networks, after receiving 1,300 such reports in all of 2024. Experts said that to help keep their children safe, parents should make sure to pay attention to their children's activities, engage with them about online predators, and maybe even keep devices out of their children's bedrooms. Young children don't always communicate with their parents very well, but you got to keep trying. The former federal prosecutor said, have them show us some of their games. Like kids are going to show their parents what's going on their social media, especially if 764 has already got their hands on them. He said maybe discuss some of these news pieces with them. Discuss some of these cases with them. Ask them what they think about it. Have they ever seen something like this happen before? Let me know what you think about this 764 terrorist group. I'd love to hear your comments. Well, that's it for our show today. Thank you for joining in. I hope you were able to learn something today, and maybe it'll help you understand what is going on around you, allowing you to be aware of the dangers to yourself and perhaps a loved one, and also maybe inspire you to get involved in the fight to stop human trafficking. Please follow me on Facebook, subscribe to my podcast, and email me at davidjstory@hotmail.com with your questions or comments. Music by tunereel.com. Please remember, always watch your six and others too.